I'm a very interactive person when it comes to all this stuff. So going to ask some questions first, get to know you guys a little bit, and then kind of go for what we have today. Okay, and I'll kind of explain that from a high-level overview down to a little bit more granular for you guys. Okay, so it is so hard to go here. I don't like that at all. Beautiful. Okay, so from a high-level overview, guys, my name is Colby Wortman, Coach Wortman. I've been a strength and speed coach this is my 9th year now, at the private level, the university level, the high school level, and I've been a private coach for quite a number of years now. A strength and speed performance facility owner. So we do private strength and speed training for the athletes of Dickinson surrounding areas and outside of that, okay? My big thing is wanting to drive a little bit of value for everybody in here, okay? I know there's track coaches, regular team sport coaches and all that, but I kind of want to get a gauge on where you guys are from and what you coach or what the interests are on that. So we just want to go around the room quick so I have a gauge of where we're at.
Moorcroft, track and field, weight room.
Beautiful, beautiful, right up my alley.
Kevin Coons, Roscoe, South Dakota, head football coach.
Good, good.
Brian Haig, Alcester, South Dakota, head football, and I do track too.
Cool. Sprints?
No throwers.
Got it, got it.
Chris Bird, assistant football, basketball, high school, middle school.
Sweet.
Will Molly, Lee Dibwood, and track and field.
Cool. Coach Gatch up here anymore? Do you
No,
know? He's been long gone. He's been long gone. Oof, having him as a strength coach, man. Yikes. Yeah.
Kim Cooper, Lincoln, basketball track.
Mm-hmm.
Phil Olson, Burlington,
Ooh.
track.
I'm originally from Orland, so yeah.
Benjamin Finch, Sundance, basketball track.
Got it.
High school, junior high school.
Cool.
Victoria Cross, Sundance, junior high and high school track.
Mm-hmm.
Julie Cross, retired from Sundance track.
Perfect.
Mike Close, Hot Springs, and track.
Okay.
Anne Marie Mickle, high school, middle school, cross country, Sundance.
Awesome.
Steve Hitchkey, Buffalo, track and field.
Buffalo, South Dakota, or Wyoming?
No, Wyoming.
Okay. My sister owns a CrossFit gym there, Courtney Thomas. Courtney Thomas.
That's pretty obvious.
The thrower family, big time thrower family. Olympian. His wife was an Olympian. Walkers. I'm.
Sarah
Yep.
and Ross Walker.
Yep. So.
Great people.
Oh,
Fantastic.
cream of the crop. Great people. He played at DSU, and then I have a couple high-level throwers that we're getting some coaching from them. Great people. Great people.
I'm Tim Mays, and I'm just retired.
Hey.
Track and cross country.
Good. Good.
Levi Shoot, Rabbit City, middle school football track.
Good.
Scotty Brooks, Sturgis, middle school track.
Okay. So the reason why I do that, guys, is I want to drive value for everybody, and not just necessarily track and field, not just necessarily middle school, high school, but drive some value for everything that hopefully you guys can take something home today. That's my goal. So when I made this presentation, I wanted to connect with you guys. I wanted to bring and give something that you can implement tomorrow, right? And I want you guys to be comfortable with speed. That's what it comes down to. So with this presentation, with what we're talking about, I'm a very freelance guy. I talk and live and breathe this stuff all day long. So I'll go on some tangents, but you have to reel me back in sometimes. The big thing today is to expose where the industry is going for strength and performance, strength and speed, and how it fits into not just track, but how it fits into all sports. So you will gain value as a singular track coach. You will gain value, but where the real value is elevating the tide that lifts all boats for all athletes, right? From middle school all the way up. That's the whole objective of today, okay? So as I said, I played college football for Dickinson State. I was the head strength coach for 2.5 years, going on 3. at Dickinson State for all major sports outside of cheerleading, and then had a personal training route for a long time, never a personal trainer, a CSCS, Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist, and have always found my niche with athletes. And that's the whole objective that we're trying to do. So we're going over the X's and O's and all that stuff today, but the main thing is building better athletes is easy, honestly. It's fairly simple. It's building better humans that really pays off in the end. So that's where it comes, whether it's the culture, whether it's the individual relationship, whatever that is, okay? So from a high level touch point, guys, you're gonna hear me say this a lot. From a high level touch point, whether you have a structured strength and conditioning program already in place, it works, it's doing well, or you have nothing, right? Like back in the 90s when I was in school, bigger, faster, stronger. Just bench, squat, deadlift, just do this, no matter where it's at. The main thing that I want you guys to think about is this from a high level touch point, okay? Sprint fast, lift heavy, jump high, throw hard. If you touch on those 4 things with any and all athletes, they will reach a potential that they weren't before, right? It sounds so simple, but it's something that it changes the type of athlete that you're working with, and you don't have to overcomplicate everything. The speed training side has been so overcomplicated, made too sexy. You have to do overspeed training every day, like all this stuff. It comes down to getting over 90%, 85% of your max velocity, lifting heavy stuff, jumping with intent, and throwing something hard, right? Even if you're not a thrower. So that's where I want to make a high-level touch point on what we're trying to go over and why I teach what I teach, okay? So the old way is broken, and I'll show you some data to kind of prove this statement here. At the end of the day, when I was in school, bench, squat, deadlift, make stronger athletes, no athletic performance, don't jump, don't run, don't sprint. Your sprint training is making us do gassers, right? And like even to this day, I mean, I hate making judgment calls based without context, okay? But we have major high schools in our area, surrounding area region, that are still doing 2-mile tests for every single person, including throwers. And I get the philosophy, but we have to figure out something that is a little bit more specific, right? So the old model, we're just banging heavy weights, slow grinding reps. There's really no measurement of true speed, right? And then what I believed for the first 6 years of my career, that stronger equals better athletes, right? Just black and white. If you are stronger, you're more athletic. And unfortunately, the correlation is not 100%, okay? So what you get is early plateaus, kids that are super strong that can't move. We've all seen that person, right? We've seen the kid that should just dominate. Boy, girl, like they should dominate everything they're doing, and they can't put it together. I played with guys in college that the weight room warriors that just couldn't get it together, okay? Higher injury risk based off of a couple different things, whether it's just heavy lifting or you get the guys that are doing bro splits at the gym with their buddies, right? Bench or back and buys, chest and tries, all that. Now this one here is very tight to my chest, right? No data to track progress. For the first 6 years of my career, I tracked nothing. I just, hey man, you're much stronger these days. Like you're doing good, your bench went up, right? No data at all. Now we track so much data that I don't even know what to do with, but it's super beneficial for the athletes if they can digest it and see it, okay? So the industry is shifting, guys. And this next couple slides that you're gonna see, you're really gonna see it in person here, okay? So whether it's sports training, whether it's athletic training, whether it's Dick's Sporting Goods, the youth sports all the way to professional sports is growing rapidly at a quick pace, right? So we're now at a $27.8 billion industry in the sports training side, going to be projected to double by 2035, and we're growing at like a 5.5% clip. Okay. Now, speed training is a big portion of that, as you guys have seen, whether it's Tony Holler, whether it's all these different guys that we're talking about. This is a very growing industry, and the data doesn't lie with the data that we've had at USR. So I'm affiliated with Universal Speed Rating, Les Spellman, the XPE crew. Our gym is what's called a Speed Labs gym, speed first, strength second, and bring them together. But the data just doesn't lie, okay? This year in 2026, record low averages across 7 out of the 8 positions. Okay, last year, fastest ever 40 ever ran. Okay, so there's something going on. These athletes are getting faster. There's something going on. And when we say, like, we're exposed to a lot of athletes on a daily basis, when we say these kids just aren't like we were, they don't work as hard, they don't do these things, I beg to differ, right? There might be a select less few of them, but the ones that do, get after it, right? We have to give them what they need. It's just different from what we needed, right? My personality type is yell, scream, get after me, and I'm gonna run through a brick wall for you. Not everybody's like that, and you guys know that. You guys know that better than I, okay? So what the data is showing is that with the evolution of speed training, something's working, right? Not very often are we hitting 7 out of 8 below average record lows in the 40s at the NFL Combine, okay? Les Spellman, good friend of mine, he had out of the top 30, I think 13 of those guys. I mean, just absolutely insanity because the industry is shifting, okay? So the philosophy that I hold, that we use with our athletes privately, that I've used with my athletes at Dickinson State, at Dickinson High School, Trinity, speed, power, and strength. But it all boils down to sprint fast, lift heavy, jump high, throw hard, right? That's what it has to be. Now, bigger, faster, stronger, all these things that we've done only focus on one portion of that force velocity curve, and it's strength, right? We're doing 5s, 3s, and 1s. 5s, 3s, and 1s. That's what we're doing in the weight room. Bench, squat, deadlift. That's only focusing on this side of the equation, and you're gonna get really, really good at this side of the equation, right? Those kids are gonna get super, super strong, but then they're gonna turn into weight room warriors. They can't produce it, they can't throw it, they can't demonstrate it, and speed's gonna suffer, okay? So having a very good outlook on hitting the whole force velocity curve, I should have thrown it up here, it's something that's very, very important, but hitting your very, very high, hitting your very, very high threshold strength stuff all the way down to speed stuff. Pretty much just about strength and speed on opposite ends of the curve, and we need to hit the whole thing, okay? So this demonstration is probably one of the more powerful things that we'll look at here today, and it shows why speed is king and why these things matter outside of track, inside of track, okay? So we're talking anywhere from 17 to 20 miles an hour. The difference between a 17-mile-an-hour runner and a 20-mile-an-hour runner from 0, 5, 10, 20, 30 yards. What's the difference, right? And you'll guys hear me say this, basketball's a really good example. Basketball, anybody basketball? Got it. The game of basketball, it boils down to creating separation. Whether you're on the defensive side, closing that gap, whether you're on the offensive side, increasing that gap. This video will show us how a 17-mile-an-hour runner and a 20-mile-an-hour runner differentiate in getting distance, creating separation. And this is, like I said, guys, in an average summer, let's just take a summer, for example, we're averaging anywhere from 1.5 to 2 mile-an-hour difference in kids that we can increase their threshold, okay? So if that's the case, this is what happens. If I can find it here. I don't know what the volume's gonna be like. 5 yards. 1 yard difference from 20 to 17, 15 yards. 3 yards difference. And 30, we've now created 5 extra yards of separation that we can't if we're a 17-mile-an-hour runner, okay? So this gets us to the big conversation that I'm talking about, which is game speed, okay? There's Tony Haller, there's Tony Villani. Tony Villani is probably one of the best sport coaches that I know. He coined the term game speed. So we've tracked this data, and it would be the same exact data with a high school kid as is a pro athlete. They've tracked GPS data in the NFL, and at the top end, those athletes are reaching 80% of their max velocity, okay? So we want to raise that threshold. We want to raise 100 as much as we can, right? That's the flashy stuff. That's trying to get them as fast as they can. Signing mile-an-hour signs, doing all that stuff, right? We want to get that 100% as high as we can. But the best athletes in the world, the Tyreek Hills, all these people, is their 80% is higher than everyone else's, okay? And the reason is acceleration and deceleration. So your athletes outside of track, jumpers would be there, but outside of track, if you can hit 100%, awesome, but now your 3-step cut turns into a 6. Okay, so we can't get out and move, and we're not going to create that separation. But if your 80% is higher than the other person's 80 or 100% speed, we can now get out of a break in 3 steps. We can now move and create separation. On a basketball court, hitting 70%. If I can transition from the defensive side to the offensive side as fast as possible, create separation, boom, get here, I have separation. That's all it comes down to, okay? So that's the reason why I asked you guys, if this was a room full of track coaches, everybody, right? I'm not going to talk about that as much. It's creating separation in a linear fashion. But here, if we can increase our 80% threshold for all of our kids, the tide that lifts all boats, that's what's going to change a program, okay? Because now, at 100% tilt, like I'm saying, I'm at speed, I've hit 21.5 miles. I can't cut, I'm not stopping. I need Jake breaks, right? I'm built for 40 yards and a sandwich. That's what I do, okay? But if I'm at 80%, I control my limbs, I can accelerate, decelerate, move. That's the best athletes. Okay, does that make sense? Game speed? Okay. So, this is for outside of track as well. Track, you can get some application for it. But the things that we use as assessment tools and the things that we use as a gauge to build general athleticism is this, okay? How can we increase their acceleration? The king, right? We need to create separation as much as we can, okay? I'll show you how we build this, give you some tangible stuff. But I'll show you kind of how we test it as well. So we do a 5-10 fly for our acceleration metric. Keep it simple. Make sure that the kids can accelerate from 0 to 5 yards. Here's your laser, 10-yard fly, and see where they're at. You can measure miles an hour, and you can measure their time based off of that, okay? Max velocity, building their 100% threshold, but also building their 80, right? We need to build their 80. When we talk about max velocity, when we're working on this, track coaches are the best coaches for this. When we're talking about this, we need to be over 85%. In a perfect world, 90. We have to be with adequate rest, okay? We were just talking this morning. Hitting repeat 200s with a minute rest or 30 seconds rest is doing nothing for us. It's absolutely doing nothing for us. These kids are getting submaximal reps at a very low speed. It takes time, right? You could cut your reps in half, increase the intensity, and get way more out of it, okay? Building power, okay? There's a correlation, a massive correlation between how much power you can produce and your acceleration, okay? So your power is your force. How much force can you create? That's going to be with your acceleration. Your form, how well can we hold form, get tall, get our hips through, and pull the earth back? That's going to be into our max. So we always talk about force and form. If there's a kid that's deficient in force, he or she is not going to be a good accelerator. If they're deficient in form, they're going to be able to get to a decent speed, but they just can't hold it. They start to fade. You see the hamstrings not working. They're a quad dominant runner, right? All those things that happen. So if you can break things down, and I'll show you our assessment tools, if you can break things down and put kids in 2 camps, form deficient or force deficient, it's going to make things so much easier, right? Just break everybody into 2 camps. And you can see it, it's very apparent, right? You don't need percentile rankings, you don't need all this stuff. Can they get up to 60, 70% well and fast? Good, they have force. Can't, it's usually they're a form runner. They can take slow and then they hold that top speed really well. Good 400 meter runners, okay? So, this is what we use, and I told you guys that for the first 6 years of my career, I didn't track anything, right? I was just telling parents and telling coaches and like, hey, your kid's stronger. I just kept trying to talk my way out of a wet paper towel, right? So what we did is we created and partnered with Universal Speed Rating. So this is how we have every single one of our athletes with their force velocity curve, their speed profile, okay? And I mean, on a daily, we have a speed clinic next weekend for about 150, 200 kids. We'll get that done in 2 hours, an hour and a half, right? We can burn through a lot of kids, give them this, and now you as the coach, you have the ammunition to know this kid, well, let's just go over it. This kid right here is super deficient. The reason his power isn't great, acceleration isn't great. Acceleration isn't great, power isn't great, right? Track runner, not going to be great. This individual here, track runner, they're not going to be great at change of direction no matter what, okay? So this is a form person, This is the person that can get to full speed, decent at a 2 and a 4, struggles in a 1, okay? Now, you go to this here, we do have a power deficiency, but they're pretty decent here, okay? So this person does very, very well in a 60, 100, but they are the opposite of the weight room warrior. They can run, they just can't get the strength where they're at right now, okay? And then this is, she doesn't mind me sharing this, really good athlete of mine. This is Jersey Lukey, just signed with Black Hills State this year for the 2-4. They probably want to put her into a 400-meter hurdles girl, but she's very proficient. She's a multiple sport athlete. This is what you see with high-level multiple sport athletes, okay? And these percentile rankings are based off of age, gender, everything. So it's not like she's going up against 7-year-olds here. So this is, if you can break kids into 2 camps, force and form, and if you can have some type of visual for them and you to see, it's a game changer. It's an absolute game changer, okay? Any questions on this, and I'll show you kind of the back end of that. Good to go. Okay, now trying to come across, because I've been a college coach, a high school coach, and a private coach now, trying to focus on small things, what we can do and what we can't do, or what we could do and what we don't want to do, okay? And I want to start with this one here. This is probably the most important one here. 16.7% versus 100%, okay? What the culture has been, situation, North Dakota as well with the weather, you guys as well, but what the culture has been since I've been in high school is you play your sport, whether you're a multiple sport athlete or you're the basketball player that plays basketball all year round, right? We all know how crazy youth athletics is getting. The culture has always been do your performance training, do your strength training, do your speed training, do your performance stuff in June and July. June and July is 16.7% of the calendar year, right? If we really think about it and really can we expect us as a coach, us as an athlete, our athletes, to truly reach their potential if they're only working on improving in 16.7% of the calendar year? I believe that's the key issue, right? And it doesn't take much in season at all. Twice a week max, right? To work on small stuff. Whether you're a PE teacher doing the strength training stuff for the school, or whether you are have a program built into their curriculum, I truly believe this is where we're really missing the key, right? As a coach, I want to find a way to be a better coach in the 100% than the 16.7. Like, I want to work on the craft year round, okay? So this is something that I truly believe will change sports if we can actually find a way to implement it, right? It's twice a week. Obviously, in a high school setting, we can't hold playing time and hold these things over their head for non-required things. But this is something to jog your brain, like, we need to be better outside of the 16.7, okay, as athletes. I believe this is starting to be broken. I truly believe. 5 years ago, I wouldn't have said that. But I truly believe with social media and things going on that most coaches can understand that conditioning is not speed and speed is not conditioning, right? But we still see it. We still see it all the time. The volleyball club's still doing 1 mile mental toughness stuff. Let's play like a double length ball and see how mentally tough you are, right? Like, we can really focus on other things than making our athletes run sub-maximal efforts, okay? So if you think about it like this, if we're filling 2 cups, right? One is a sub-maximal effort cup and one's a maximal effort cup. We only have so much water, right? We continue to do sub-maximal efforts. When I say sub-maximal, we're not running at full speed. We're jogging. We're at 60%. We're at 50%. We keep filling that. We can't fill up any more water. We're going to start converting these athletes to more sub-maximal slow twitch athletes, right? We just have to expose them. Even if we cut every rep in half, we just have to continue to expose them to maximal effort bouts of it, whether it's strength training or speed training, right? That's what it comes down to. So gassers, down and backs, suicides, whatever you want to call them, finding a way to bring the game into conditioning. Okay, that's from a performance coach standpoint. You guys are sports coaches, right? There's a disconnect there, but finding a way to limit sub-maximal efforts and increase maximal efforts is what it comes down to. Okay, Multi-sport versus single sport, I would much rather have a kid that does football, wrestling, and track and field than hockey, hockey club, hockey camps, hockey, and that's what we have where we're at. It's just, it's incredible. And what parents don't understand, you guys do, is that a kid that plays hockey year-round is not going to always just get this linear line of becoming better at hockey. You only can get so good at the skills, right? If you can't improve your power, if you can't improve your speed, if you can't improve your strength, you're not going to progress, right? So much puck handling. You can only do so many shots, right? Like there's these prerequisites that we have to have. So that's what we run into. Have you guys seen like where you guys are at with the rise of AAU and all these things, like how wild kids' schedules are and how wild, it's just year round, right? In a perfect world, let's pick 2 to 3 that you love, dude. And I'm a father of a little 3-year-old, and like I'm looking at this down the road, and like I just want to expose him to what he enjoys. Like I want to expose him to joy. He really likes jujitsu, let's go do it, dude, right? Instead of like, hey, your dad was an all-conference whatever, right? Let's play football. I think if we can just look at it from a 10,000-foot view, we'll get a much better look at it, okay? Now, we were talking about Tony Holler earlier, and I'm a converted meathead, right? I'm a converted meathead. I was 700-pound deadlifter, 525-pound squatter, 410-pound bench presser. Like, I like moving heavy weight. That's what I do, right? I'm a converted meathead. It's not just about the strength training. A lot of our kids are weak, right? Like, a lot of them are weak. They need this, but now the landscape has changed that this isn't enough, right? If you think about the kids nowadays, your kids that you guys have, the ones that are going to play college sports, bless you, they aren't just doing bench, squat, and deadlift. They're doing multiple sports. They have, whether it's private performance coaches, you as a performance coach, they have these things, and it's just not enough anymore. The level of athleticism, back to 7 out of the 8 position groups having records, the level of athleticism and the level of athletes is continuing to grow. They're better every single year, and we see that all the time, okay? And that's where here I just don't believe that it's enough anymore. These are all things that we do on a weekly basis, but we have to mix in the athleticism. Any questions on that? Did that make anybody mad? No? I'm a converted meathead, I'm serious. I mean, that's what I do, okay? So I was gonna kind of skip over this a little bit to kind of get you guys into the nitty gritty and kind of the back end stuff. But from a high level touch point, guys, we have all seen this. Okay? 7 to 18 years old, let's go 7 to 10 years old, right? The athletes that are the best are not the ones that play AAU all round. The athletes are the best at the 7 to 10 mark are the ones that can walk and chew bubble gum at the same time, right? They can coordinate themselves, and they're this much faster than everybody else, right? That's it. Those are the kids that succeed. The kids that can, in flag football, just stay away from everybody. Those are the ones that succeed. It's not the kid that has the biggest bench, has the biggest squat and deadlift, okay? So from that standpoint, I need to, and one of my best mentors, the best mentor, Coach Pete Leno, he's the man, dude. He's one of the best sports performance coaches in the world. He said the best way to get faster is to stop slowing down, okay? So if I'm trying to make a 7 to 10-year-old faster, I just need to fix the things that are slowing him down, right? Or he or she. Now, knee flexion, not making sure that the foot is landing underneath us, they're landing like this, and they're running on their heels. I just need to clean up the small stuff. Everything else will take care of itself from 7 to 10, right? And I have a pretty cool video showing that here next. But really focusing on exposing them to maximal efforts 1 times a week, right? And making sure that they're looking at a full calendar year as a multi-sport athlete. Because as soon as we start having a 7-year-old only play AAU basketball, we're asking for ACL issues, we're asking for so many things, okay? What to avoid, we're not trying to turn these guys into power lifters. We don't, when it says excessive strength training, they still need to lift weights where they're at, right? With what their ability level is. We're not looking at sports-specific stuff. Sports-specific stuff is the secret scroll. It's fugazi. It's not real. Let them be athletes and let them explore what they love, okay? High school athletes, we get into a little bit more, and I'm actually gonna skip this one. You guys have a good idea on this, right? You guys are I've learned some of the best things I know from track coaches. You guys have to be dialed with meters. You have to be dialed with rest. You have to be dialed with how much they're doing. That's what I love about track. Swimming as well, okay? So from a high level touch point, these are all things that we know, right? Squat, step, lunge. We have to vertical push, vertical pull, horizontal push, horizontal pull. Make sure they're doing all those things well. Expose them to lifting fast, sprint fast, lift heavy, jump high, throw hard, and make sure they have something that they can hold on to tangibly. Time it, give them miles an hour, small things like that. And it's not in my presentation, but something that I could probably pull up a picture for you guys. Super cool for you guys if you guys want to implement it. It's kind of part of our USR deal. But when we were in high school, we had the 1,000-pound club, the bench squat deadlift club. We have mile-an-hour clubs. So we just strictly focus on what's your max speed. We have actual mile-an-hour signs that kids sign once they hit it, and they are fighting each other to get on that board, right? And it is a super cool culture thing that we do. We implement it at the high schools that we coach. So we, for high schools, Bowman, Richardson, South Hart, couple Wyoming schools that we do, we implement that right away. Like, we need to build this culture of speed, and we need to build this culture of trying to achieve. So that's what we do, okay? What's that? So we use a couple different ones. Vald is a really good one, but it's super expensive, and it's a subscription. I try to stay away from as much subscriptions as I can. We use Dasher. Dasher has kind of taken over the game. You're talking timing gates? Yep. Dasher, you're under $1,000 for a super accurate laser system, and it's mirrorless, so you don't have to have laser. It's just mirrorless. Kids have to stay, I think, 6 yards or 8 yards up to the laser. Works super well. And what it does is it gives us mile an hour, so it runs the conversion already, so it gives you miles an hour and your speed, okay? So you could have them 100 meters away for a 100-meter dash. You could have them, what we do is a 30-10 fly or a 5-10 fly, and that's what we use most of them for. Dasher, yeah, and you can get in less than $1,000, and that's the high tier ones. That's their highest tier is less than $1,000. If you're looking at Vald, you're looking like $2,500 and $200 a month or something. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. So that's what we use.
To that mile per hour club, we do wristbands and t-shirts also.
Oh, dude, they eat it up. And I mean, I think back to my training days. Like, I ate that stuff up. Why can't I get too busy and I just try to coach? Those are the things that they really love. Yep. We have the Tony Holler wristbands as well. Yep. Okay. Just a high-level touch point. This isn't specific for track. This is not specific for anything. This is our multi-sport athlete group, okay? I want to give you guys something you can walk away with today, right? Something stupid simple that you can walk away with today. Now, if you're like, man, I really don't like the patterning work, put your patterning work in there. I'm just going to give you a high-level touch point before we get out of here, okay? So we use Team Builder for all our programming things, and then we have USR, which I'm going to show you guys the back end from that. That's Les Spellman. He's a NFL performance coach, does high-level Olympic soccer, does all that stuff, okay? So from a high-level touch point, what we do when we're going through our performance side of things, obviously in track specific or weight room specific, it's kind of blending the two. We come up, we go through our warm-up and our prep. So our prep, all it is everybody grabs a foam roller, everybody grabs a lacrosse ball, you're rolling out from your feet all the way up to your hips. Anything that's tight, hurting, aggravating, we fix it, okay? So we want to do an acute change right off the jump, make sure that things that are hurting, we can get an acute decrease in pain, okay? Just so we're not getting signals from our brain, firing it to that, pulling a hamstring. There's research behind it. If we can make it feel a couple % better, there's a much less chance of us pulling something, okay? So lacrosse balls, rolling out the feet as hard as they can, foam rollers, calves, hamstrings, IT bands, quads, hip flexors, then they move on, okay? We go through what's called Bounce Fire series. Anybody know who Brian Kula? He's Christian McCaffrey. I've got to break with him and meet him. He's, I would say, a decent friend, acquaintance. He created what's called Bounce Fire, and if you guys go to YouTube and type in Bounce Fire, it's a super great for the position you're in. There's a lot of middle school coaches, high school coaches, multi-sport coaches. Bounce Fire is a super great warm-up protocol for sprinters and non-sprinters. Really, really good. So they have a linear series, straight forward and back, working on the pull of the hamstring. They have their lateral series going side to side. It's beautiful, okay? I absolutely love it. 1 second, too. You want to check the camera real quick? City of Dickinson called me a little bit ago. So, man. Okay, so Bounce Fire series, that's going to get us through our warm-up and our prep, and then we go into patterning. Now, every coach has their different way to do things. This is just how I've done it and how I've been taught. So we go straight from our warm-ups into our speed patterning, okay? So this was a max velocity day. So we're doing PVC marches, PVC bounds, PVC sprints. Arms overhead, getting them to a max velocity setting, making sure hips are forward, trunk is tight, getting them used to this position rather than this or this or this position. That's all we're doing. So patterning work, input your patterning work, okay? Then we go into some type of dynamic movement. Gear 4, this is for our shred mill, so take this out unless you have a shred mill, freaking awesome. And then we'll go into our thing for the day. So this one was actually 40s for a bunch of our football guys. So we're trying to have them hit top speed, hit our 40s, make sure that they're resting. We track heart rates if we can, if it's a small enough group. I know that's not tangible for what you guys do in your sports coaching setting, but we track heart rates to make sure that they're good to go before we hit that. Now into our strength work, when we go into it, this was just an example day. We're hitting hard, heavy, fast trap bar deadlifts paired up with our vertical jumps into some landmine throws, some power development. So here, throwing the landmine into assisted push-ups. Super simple. Again, I'm a converted meathead. This gives me nightmares that we're only doing 2 supersets, right? But if we can cut this in half and really work on this, the two correlate much better together, okay? And again, put your stuff, your patterning. That's why I love talking to multiple track coaches over the weekend. Everybody has their thing, right? Everybody has their patterning work, their speed work, their cueing. That's what I love about it, okay? And then we'll go into cool down. Anything that is nagging from after practice, we'll have them cool down, whether that's recovery boots or rolling out or whatever it is, okay? Now, going to go over just a couple things, and I don't know which video is going to pop up right off the jump. So I believe what this is showing some acceleration, some max velocity stuff, and then our plyometrics. So when I program for a multi-sport athlete, we're not just talking track. When I program for a multi-sport athlete, which you will see here, we have a max velocity day with heavy, heavy ass strength training, okay? So we always pair max velocity with heavy, heavy strength training. Then we go into our acceleration day. So we're going acceleration with power development stuff in the weight room, okay? 60, 65, 70% on all of our lifts, moving it for speed, okay? And I'm oversimplifying so that it's just something you guys can take and implement, okay? And then our last day, we're hitting plyos into a hypertrophy. We're trying to build muscle. We're trying to get them to put on muscle mass, okay? So from a high level touch point, you always want your max velocity and your heavy strength training early, okay? This is gonna be high tax. This is gonna be what's called a high day. Then you always want a corresponding lower day. High day, low day, high day, low day, okay? So that's how we always do that. Again, in track, you don't have this, right? So you guys are programming much, much more than what we're doing. But that's kind of the overall 10,000 foot view. Then we go into our acceleration, hitting our high power output stuff, resisted sprints, sled sprints, hill sprints, short duration, big rest, more power development stuff. So we're at an RP of 7 for speed on push press. That's a lot of reps, right? So we got to make sure that they're moving the bar with intent. That's all it comes down to. And then plyometric, whether it's a vertical day, a horizontal plyo day, or a transverse day, moving side to side, all that stuff, that's the high level touch points on that, okay? And our in-season track kids, we only allow them to do twice a week. Some of them want to do more, we do not allow it, okay? So let me go back to these here. Let me just, okay, here's that, the kids that succeed at 7 to 10 years old. They're the ones that are not slowing down. They're the ones that can do the small things right. I'm not making him or her faster. I'm just making them not as slow, okay? That's what it comes down to. So we got just over a little bit of a month difference here. This is my man Quest. So we're doing a max velocity sprint out in this parking lot here, and you can see he really struggles to get hip flexion, can't get his knees high enough. He's in an overleaned state. He just doesn't know what it means to open up and allow himself to sprint. His foot landing way out in front. I can't slow-mo it, so I'm kind of giving you guys the things to look at here. He just can't get it, okay? Oh, let's rewind here. Where's my mouse? There it is. Can't get his knees up. Foot is landing out in front of him. He's more flat-footed. And now you can start to see that pull, the knee, and the hip are working, okay? I didn't make him faster at all, but he hit mile-an-hour increases. It's the small fundamental things, okay? And if you can look at that from a small touch point with every single athlete and just focus on one thing, it's gonna help. Because I'm not oblivious to know that, like, I know Dickinson High Middle School track is like 250 kids. It's insanity. Like, I'm not oblivious to like how much workload you guys have. I'm just trying to get it to a point where it's like, hey, let's get one thing. Your knee flexion is not great. Let's fix that, okay? This is one of our high-level tennis. She's a Division I tennis player, gonna be a Division I tennis player. That's just an example of one of our max velocities. So that's a 30-10 fly. She's a right at 20 mile an hour runner. And then this is just an example of a plyo day that we hit, okay? Just giving you guys something. We are big depth jump people, okay? If you guys can implement anything on the plyometric sides, it's depth jumps. This is Vergashansky, Zadisworski, the old Russian manuals, like they did it right, dude. They did it right. And the reason is, we were talking Tony Holler again. Tony Holler is very polarizing, saying he doesn't like the barbell, strength training, stupid. He does it to sell stuff, right? He just understands that the barbell is a tool. The barbell is a tool that cannot mimic the velocities and the intensities that the athlete's body goes through while sprinting. So that's why he talks about it. No matter if I load 500 pounds on this bar or 5, I'm never going to get to the velocities that I get to when I sprint. Depth jumps you will, okay? Having increasing box height, jumping off it, landing double, landing single, those things really mimic sprinting very, very well, okay?
Distance for the minimum of a depth jump.
I mean, we start on like a progression from our, I think it's a 10 or 12 inch box. We start on a 12-inch box, making sure that they're landing toes forward, knees back, or excuse me, hips back, and being able to strike the ground well. So here, striking the ground really well. There's not a cushion, like when a kid lands and you see that they can't hold their body weight, that's a problem. We got to make sure that they're stiff. So when they land, they're stiff. They have the joint stiffness and the ligament stiffness to do it, and then we start progressing off of that. And then when you get up to these like 3-footers, 3.5 footers, you can, I mean, with some of them, we're having them do a max effort vertical jump off the box, sticking that landing. Then we go, once they get those down, we go into splits. So if I had like this progression, it's box height progression, and then we go into double leg into split stance. So they'll jump off the box into these, hold this position really well, chest tall, and then we'll go into single leg landing, step off, holding that position, make sure they have the stiffness. So that's kind of the progression. Small box, big box, small box, double leg, small box, lunge, small box, single leg. Yep. That's something that, like, if you could take today and just get some boxes and implement it, you're on a good path, okay?
Is it always on a surface, or do you mind if it's like on a wrestling mat or anything like that?
Wrestling mat's great. You're just working with, it doesn't have to be on a small or hard or soft surface, but then you're gonna see that their foot, like on a wrestling mat, if you land, you're gonna have this a little bit. So just watch it, just watch that. If you're doing, if you're keeping the volume, the number of reps low, it's good. It's actually a good shock. So we do it on turf. You could do it really on any surface, just making sure that they're not getting like a pain signaling when you're doing it.
Is it always either like, say that depth jump into like a broad jump or vertical?
Yep.
You ever go like side to side?
Yes. So when we break, and that's, I could talk about this for hours, but when we break our plyos down, it's vertical plyo day, horizontal plyo day, or transverse. So side to side, moving through space. And so we'll do verts, broads, moving side to side. That's kind of how we break all those down. Yes. Yep. So in our programming, when I'm getting to see kids 2 to 3 days a week, 1 week is vertical plyos, 1 week's horizontal, 1 week's transverse, right? And however that fits into what you guys do, you guys could do it Mondays, Fridays, but then you have your meets and things. So just making sure they have a good mixture is what we focus on, and trying not to like have a vertical plyo and horizontal in the same day, or a vertical plyo and a transverse in the same day. These are all cut up videos so you guys can kind of see them. I am almost done here, guys. It'll let me go. It's not letting me go forward, so that's awesome. Let's see. There we go. So that was that high level touch point overview. The results, we've had a good amount of college scholarships. I'll skip over all this stuff. Your guys' implementation of what we're gonna do here, how to work with us. I'm gonna skip all this stuff. So if you guys ever want, we have a couple free resources that you guys can get. If you guys ever want any information, anything like that, you guys can scan this QR code. It'll have you put in your name, so it gives me a notification. But based off of that, we have a couple free speed programs that I send people just to get the ball rolling and see what you guys are doing, see what we're doing, and see if anything's a fit for you guys, okay? Last thing I wanted to show you guys was this before we move on. If you guys want to keep up with anything that we're doing, so this is our strength and performance facility here. This is my personal Instagram, Facebook. If you're gonna do anything, we're most active here. If you guys wanna see those real quick, shoot us a follow, that would be awesome. And then I'll show you one last thing that I think you guys will enjoy. Perfect. Okay, last thing that we do that I think you guys can gain some value from is this. This is USR, guys. So Universal Speed Rating, we are a Speed Labs gym that helps high schools, colleges, individual athletes implement speed training, okay? So having said that, this is Jersey that I was talking about. She's a 20.8, 20.9 mile an hour runner, does the 2, did the 100, but this is where we track, where I said we track so much data I don't know what to do with, okay? So every sprint that these athletes do is tracked, ranked, recorded, and published, okay? So every single thing that she does over a long period of time, if we go back to her 5:10 fly, she has quite a bit of metrics on that, just hit a PR in the last couple weeks. But everything we do is tracked so we know what's going on, okay? So this duration here, she's into volleyball, club volleyball, kind of stagnation, getting into here. This is where track just started over here, but we're having all these data points so we know exactly what's going on, okay? And then the most important thing is this. This is that one that I printed off and showed you guys here, okay? So from a high level touch point, if you guys can do one thing today, implement depth jumps, right? Awesome. Break your kids into 2 categories of force and form, okay? And if and when you guys are able to assess kids, what are their efficiencies? These 4 tests outside of just track and field, I'm talking all athletics. If you can get a gauge on these 4 tests, max velocity test, 30-10 fly is usually the best, okay? 30 build into 10 fly. Acceleration test, 5-10 fly, their vertical jump, and their change of direction ability. If you can get a metric and get a test on that, you now know everything you need to know about that athlete, okay? You now know what to work on and what not to work on. But that's the big gauge that we focus on. Every single athlete that walks through our doors gets one of these, okay? And like the schools that we work with, those Richardson, Bowman, all those ones, every single athlete that we have, everybody day one gets this test done so we know how to drive our decision making based off of that, okay? And from a high level touch point, how this fits into your sports is like, try to get some numbers, some definite numbers on these kids. Look at the norms. You guys won't have this software right off the bat. Look at these norms and see where they're deficient, see where they're not. And that will help drive decision making for you guys. Does that make sense? So yeah, this is the fancy dancy software. Do you guys have any questions? I know we're right at time right now. Do you guys have any questions, concerns, things to implement? Decent. Thank you guys for your time. Thank you very much.
When you're measuring how fast your kids are moving the bar, what do you guys use? Do you use like OVR?
OVR, baby. OVR. Just, I mean, they've lowered the barrier to entry